Hello you guys, welcome to the Nation of Eyeballs. Casper here. Today I'm going to be testing out the tennis on Gambit in real practical games just to see if it still works against some higher rated opponents on Lichess. So I'm going to challenge two random chess players on Lichess and see if these traps that I teach you guys in my videos do work in practical games. So sit back and relax. Don't skip this video because I promise they are going to be very fun. Okay? I'm just going to be playing traps. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so here we are. Okay, my first opponent is rated 2085. Knight to f3. I'm intending to play the tennis on Gambit here. Okay, d5, pawn to e4. If pawn takes, I'll go knight g5. Knight g5. Okay, so I expect to see knight f6 here. And then, okay, knight f6, pawn to d3. If pawn takes, I'll take with my bishop. If h6, I'll take the pawn on e4, or I wanted to say playing knight h3, but bishop takes. If h6, I'll take on f7. Oh, knight c6. So here is a situation where my opponent declines the tennis on Gambit. What am I supposed to do here? Maybe develop my queen's knight on c3. Because at the end of the day, I still need to play chess, right? Yeah, h6, knight g e4, I guess. If knight takes, I'll take back with my queen's knight. At worst, I may even consider castling long because the game is on the king side. These highlighted squares here. So knight takes, knight takes. I'm preparing to go queen f3 and bishop e3 and castle long. So e6 by black. Let me go bishop e3 first. Just controlling that diagonal and that. So next, queen f3 or queen g4, yeah? If f5, I have queen g6 check, or just take the pawn on g7 and maybe win the rook on h8. So queen f5 is not a real threat. And just in case black castles short, I have bishop takes on h6 and castle long. Okay, bishop f6. Now, I think I can castle long, right? Just to complete my development. That's the whole idea of playing a gambit, you guys. Quick development. Look at black's pieces. Now, taking on f6 is kind of bad because I'm going to activate black's queen. So let me go bishop c5. Bishop c5 stops black from castling short. Okay? Okay, pawn to b6 now. Bishop a3. I maintain my bishop pressure. So knight e5. I think queen g3, yep. So if knight takes, I'll take back with my rook. So knight takes d3 will be bad because black will just help me to activate my d rook and I'll create a battery after rook h d1. Not to mention that bishop e7 by black will be met with queen takes on g7. It's like black's pieces are all paralyzed at the back rank. Look at that, guys. Like all my pieces are active. Almost all of them are active except for the h rook. And black's pieces are doing nothing at the back rank. It's like they can't move. Anyways, let's see what black is going to play here. I don't even know what he should do. Oh, knight g6. Knight g6. I think the move here is bishop b5. But I still need to be careful of bishop h4. Anyway, bishop b5. The last squared bishop can't take my bishop because it is pinned to the queen by my rook. I should also be careful of bishop h4. Okay, knight back to e5. What is black doing? I mean, you can see he doesn't even have moves here. I think I can go maybe pawn to f4 so that I chase this knight away. Yes. What if c6? Okay, pawn to f4. If pawn to c6, I'll take the knight and take the bishop. While black is only going to take my light squared bishop. That'll be fine. Let's see what my opponent is going to do here. So you can see he doesn't have any moves. Oh, wow. So my opponent just resigned. What did I say? I'm happy. Look at all of black's pieces. They were doing nothing at the back. So that's just how to continue playing your gambit if it gets declined. So knight f3, here is what I was expecting to see. Pawn to d5 and then e4, and then after d takes e4, then knight g5. I was expecting black to play knight f6, which they did, and after pawn takes, bishop takes, h6. This is all what I was expecting to see, and I guess you guys already know this trap where we go bishop g6 check, and later on win black's queen on d8 after king takes g6. So after knight f3 again, you can see black responding with the Caro-Kann defense, after which you just play the same line, pawn to d3 after d5. Okay, so the idea is that after pawn takes, you take back with your bishop, and knight to f6, knight takes f7 leads to the same trap as the one that we saw in the Tennyson Gambit, where we play bishop g6 and win the black queen on d8. So again, you can still meet this in the Sicilian defense, let's say the Alpine variation, where we play knight to f3 after pawn to d5, so that if pawn takes, we go knight g5 attacking the pawn, and if knight to f6, which is what they do most of the times, you simply go pawn to d3, so that if pawn takes, you take back with your bishop, and after h6, you sacrifice your knight once again, and just like in the Tennyson Gambit, you go bishop g6, winning the queen on d8. Alright, so these are just all the traps that you need to keep in mind when you are playing the Tennyson Gambit. Let's move on to the next game. Alright, so in this other game, I'm planning to play the Stafford Gambit in reverse just to satisfy your eyeballs. Starting with the bishop's opening, bishop c4, that's the way to go. Okay, knight to f6 is the top played move. I'm still giving black one more chance to take my pawn on e4. So that's why I've castled short there. So, okay, now I can play pawn to d4. This has transposed back to the deuce gambit, okay? So, after bishop c5, pawn to d4 is called the deuce gambit. So, we are no longer playing the Stafford Gambit reverse. So, this is how openings can transpose from one to another. Okay, so bishop takes d4 is the correct move here. Okay, I'll show you what would have happened if black took with the e-pawn or the knight. So knight takes d4. Now I have the bishop pair while black only has the bishop and knight. That's the advantage of playing these so-called deuce gambits. So the move is pawn to f4. Yep, so that if e takes f4, the knight will fall on d4. Oh, pawn to d6. Can I take the pawn on e5? Yep. So now bishop g5, I think, pinning the king's knight to the queen. At worst, I just want to mess up black's pawn structure on the king's side. That's how we play the deuce gambit, you guys. So knight e6, I was expecting to see that. So I have to be very careful here, you guys, because if I play a careless move here like queen e2, like that would be bad, okay? For example, queen e2 will hang my dark squared bishop on g5. And not to mention that if I play something like, let's say queen c1, black will play queen d4 check and win my light squared bishop. So I guess the only move here that I'm supposed to play is queen takes d8. I don't mind exchanging queens in this position. Yep, because I'm still ahead in development. I can take the knight on f6 and mess up black's pawn structure and take back with my rook. Oh, now bishop e6. Okay, now here is how we play chess, you guys. If I retreat my light squared bishop, black will be more than happy to trade it, okay? Or if I take black's bishop on e6, I'll help black to activate his knight, which is doing nothing on d8. So that's why I've played knight d2, so that if bishop takes on c4, I can take back with my knight, putting my knight on a better square. So again, black's king is attacking my rook. Should I retreat my rook, or maybe I can do better by involving my a1 rook? I mean, it was doing nothing on a1, right? Yep. Okay, now black plays rook f8, but that leaves the h7 pawn weak. I can go for that pawn, I think. Just rook h6. Okay, knight c6 leaves the light squared bishop somehow vulnerable, because I think now I can take on e6, yep. So that if pawn takes, I give black a check on h7, rook takes h7 check, and I guess they'll play, yeah, king e6, and sorry, king d6, and I just don't have to take the rook on f8, because that will activate the a8 rook, which is doing nothing. So that's why I've played rook d1 with an intention of playing knight c4 discovery check. I also have rook takes c7 if king c5. Yep. So let's see what black is going to do here. I think I'm winning this game so easily. I'm going to win. Yep. Okay, knight d4. I don't believe in that, because I still have knight c4 check, and that will win the pawn on e5. So knight takes e5. Next, I want to give black a check by playing knight d7 check, which is also a fork. And if black plays, let's say, knight e2, I'll just put my king on h1. That's it. So let's see what black is going to do here. Okay, so knight takes c2 is a blunder, because I have rook takes c7 check, and next I'm going to win the knight. Oh, so black just resigned, and I expected to see that. Anyways, let me just show you what I was expecting to see. So e4, e5, bishop c4. I just wanted black to take on e4 so that I can play the Stafford Gambit reverse, okay? And the top played move here that most black players like responding with this d6, but that can be met with knight g5, attacking the weak f7 pawn. My knight is well defended by the dark squared bishop on c1, so I don't have to worry about that. And if bishop e6, I simply take the bishop on e6, and after pawn takes, I don't even take on e6 with my knight. I go queen f3. I covered all these lines in the video that has popped up in the card above, you guys. If queen d7, defending the f7 square, now we have queen takes b7, okay? Things can even get worse if black chooses to defend his a8 rook with queen c6, because now this will be met in two. You can see black only has one square, and queen takes on e6 check is the way to go, and after king d8, that's met. So once again, feel free to watch that video, which is already in the card above, where I covered this line. You can't afford to miss that video, you guys. And let me just show you what I was expecting to see in the Deuce Gambit, you guys, after we reached this position where black played bishop c5. So I played d4, that's the Deuce Gambit. If black didn't capture with the dark squared bishop and instead used the pawn, I would have played pawn to e5, attacking the knight, and after knight g4, there's a sack that we always play in order to reach this position that you're seeing on the board. And this basically just makes black to lose his right to castle. So thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if at all you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if at all you haven't already, in order to encourage me to keep on making more wonderful videos just like this one. And well, nothing else to say. See you in the next video. Until next time.